Hi everyone, and thank you for connecting to this roundtable. We have a great panel today to discuss the importance of customer data cloud organization and how a major consumer product company like Nestlé was able to derive tremendous marketing efficiencies, ROI, and value from implementing a best-of-breed CDP solution. So I'm Charles VATIN, I'm leading the solution engineering team for Treasure Data, and I'm here today with Patrica Kristman, which is head of data engineering and governance at Nestlé Brazil, and Vinicius, senior data consultant at Architectur. So as we know, long-term impact caused by the pandemic and structural changes are causing major disruptions in the industry on how companies reach customers and deliver ideal customer experiences. So first of all, Patricia, what are some of the major challenges and trends that you are seeing in the consumer products industry?
So Charles, here in Brazil, we have more than 42 million have buyers. We are a very important geography to our business, as Nestlé is the biggest company for beverages and foods. And nowadays we have more than 14 million people in our consumer database. And as you said, we have this impact that all the companies have suffered with COVID, and we saw the habits of our consumer changing. So people used to be able to go to the supermarket to buy their chocolates, to buy coffee, and they were avoiding go to the supermarket. Everybody were avoiding going out. So we saw our consumer habits changing, and we needed to keep talking with our consumers. So the digital sales that used to be important to Nestlé by the time became fundamental to keep very close to our consumers and also to be able to reach our targets. And by the same time, the third party that used to take care of our consumer database decided to leave Nestlé, and we had just 90 days to rebuild our entire operation. And by that moment, in that chaotic scenario, we had two options. So we chose to take a look at this as an opportunity to rebuild, to start from scratch. And we were deciding like what we should do different here in Nestlé, how we can move forward with our consumer data, how we can be every time more close to our consumer. And we decided that it was time to be able to implement a CDP, a market CDP. So this is how our journey started to be able to make this complex and amazing implementation.
So this is very specific to Nestlé. So Vinicius, based on your experience in helping implement marketing solutions for clients and customers, what do you see or hear that is top of mind for enterprises?
Okay, so what we see today is an answer to the evolving technical and legal environments, and also the progressive end of the third-party cookies from major browsers. So what we see today are mainly 4 types of solutions. The first one would be customer data platforms, and start building value on top of the first-party data. The second one would be data governance, so defining processes in order to enable the end-to-end data transformation. The third one would be audience segmentation, so how do I find and how do I define my audiences, so building those precise segmentations. And finally, the second-party data partnerships. So finding valuable data throughout win-win partnerships and actually building on top of that first-party data.
And now, as we all know, with digital transformation, selection of the right platform and implementing it with the right manner are key to the results that companies will be able to get from those projects. So, Patricia, how did you go about selecting your partners? And what were you hoping to get out of these initiatives?
So, to decide a new partner and to a such important pillar here in Nestlé, we used to make an evaluation and a scorecard evaluation, and we take a look to more than two companies. We used to go in the end to like decide between three companies normally. And we have like a lot of things that we evaluate before choosing some partner. But for this implementation, I have 4 pillars that I decided that it was the most important thing for us to be able to decide which company really would be our partner. So the first thing it was regarding security and compliance. Here in Brazil, the LGPD started to be more aggressive. LGPD is the same as GDPR for the ones that don't know, that the same thing that happens in Europe. And we wanted a partner that could help us to guarantee that we were aligned with LGPD and aligned that we know that the security of the data of our consumers is the most important thing for us. So this is the first pillar. The second one is to choose a tool that it was user-friendly. So we really are in a moment that we want to democratize our data across Nestlé. And to be able to do it, I need a user-friendly tool because I don't have just people from my team that it's a technical team working with this data. We have people that working in marketing, CRM, media, and they can do amazing things with this information. So we needed to give to those guys a platform that they could operate, really operate. So this was very important for us as well. The third pillar is, it was like, I really want to work with the best of the market. So I wanted to work with the best evaluated platforms for Gartner. And this was very important for us. So we just chose the ones that were well evaluated by Gartner, and also that I could benchmark with another companies in my geography, companies as big as Nestlé, to understand if we could do this complex implementation. I really need some advices, to be very honest with you all. So this is why benchmarking here was so important. And for the last, we wanted a company, a platform that have native connectors that could help me to unlock new use cases, new features quicker. So I really wanted to be able to evolve this tool and be very aligned to the market. So when I am talking about a platform that have native connectors to artificial intelligence, to work with media, to work with all of this is very important because it's easier for us to unlock the use cases. And as my personal advice as well is like, I am very happy with the platform. Of course, it's a very nice platform from the market. And I am here to sell chocolate, to sell coffee, to sell Purina. I am not here to build a CDP from the scratch. So I want a very nice platform that I didn't need to worry about creating connectors and things like that, because I need to use that to be able to achieve my targets. So basically, this is the idea and the most important pillars to decide which platform we would choose.
And we are very glad that Nestlé has chosen Treasure Data as the CDP and Artefact as the implementation partner. So just to summarize, what is Treasure Data? So Treasure Data, it's a pure player CDP, or best-of-breed customer data platform. It's a SaaS solution, and we want to solve the customer data management from the beginning to the end, so from the collection to the activation or the customer experiences. And it can be divided into 2 parts. So you have the technical parts of the platform, which is everything regarding collection of data with the connectors, so how to bring the data into the solution. Then everything regarding unification, standardization of this data that will happen inside the CDP as well. And lastly, the enrichment through artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithm to enrich the 360 degrees view of your profiles, which are in the CDP. And the second part of the platform is the business side. So it's where the end users will create their segmentation, their journeys or orchestration, and the activation of those audiences to the different marketing channels. So in terms of piecing together the right marketing solutions that can integrate into your existing MarTech stack, what should be top of mind for companies, and how should they go about implementing their strategy?
I think regarding infrastructure, Charles, the most important thing that I could share with the audience is like, you need to choose a platform that it's flexible. So I will give the example about what we need here in Nestlé and how we did it. So basically, to summarize, we needed to connect and unify more than 80 data sources to be able to segment and enrich this data and then be able to make the activation. And from the pilot to the implementation, we took really 92 days. So I am very happy that that first challenge we had in the beginning, and I was talking a little bit about, we really were able to achieve it. And to do that, as I said, I needed a platform that really were flexible, because we needed to make architecture based on our environment here in Nestlé. So we needed to connect our 80 data sources in our environment, in our data, in our architecture. We use here a cloud to be able to put our data. So we wanted to internalize all the data sources. So we connected to Nestlé clouds. Then we send this information to Treasure Data. We work with all the connectors, activation, use cases, etc. inside of Treasure Data. And then we also have the results coming back to Nestlé Data Lake. So it's a very peculiar architecture, because normally people use the connections for the data sources directly to the tool, directly to the platform. And I know that Treasure Data is able to do it, but we really wanted, because of other strategies and other projects, we really needed to internalize the data first and then send it to Treasure Data. And I am very happy that these were possible with Treasure Data and Artefact to help. We could really make this architecture work. So it's a peculiar way to work with, but it was flexible enough to attend our needs.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, Treasure Data has this flexibility of working very closely to the data lake of our customers, or to connect directly to the data sources. So it's really a choice for the company regarding their data governance. And Vinicius, so what are the challenges of the shift to platform approach? And what are the best practices that you recommend to clients from an implementation perspective?
Well, regarding challenges of shifting to a platform approach, I believe that is associated with basically the efforts of making the platform functional company-wide. And to do so, it's important to follow not a project approach, but more of a product approach. And to drive that type of approach, it is important to always start from the objective. So start from the business, from the value ambition. So that would be the top of this pyramid. So we start by the value ambition, understanding the why, the business objectives, and so on. And then we select the use cases that can make that happen. The who, that would be the operating model. So who would be the best people to work to make these use cases and work on those? And which is the data and what are the tools that are priority for us to select and to connect in order to actually drive this top of the pyramid that would be the business objective. So regarding the second question, that would be the best practices in terms of implementation. These 3 steps would be, let's say, a minimum approach for implementation project. So these are in line with the pyramid that we just saw, but it's basically having that phase before the implementation in order to actually assess with the business stakeholders what are the objectives, what are the pain points, and start mapping and prioritizing the use cases. On top of that, we drive the implementation. So using the priority data and connecting the priority tools, we make the platform functional. And after that, finally, we run at least a pilot use case to prove to the rest of the company that the platform works and it drives value.
What you just say is very important, and it's what we recommend to our customer is really to start from the use cases, and from the use cases to decide which is the data that you want to ingest into the CDP. So really to start from the use cases and work backward. So data and insight have become the crux of the new digital customer experience. How has the value of data increased to become the foundation for consumer engagement? And what must consumer companies do to reconsider their data strategy? So Vinicius, could you please share with us what are the best practices that you are seeing?
Sure. So I believe this process summarizes the three main convictions in terms of best practices of data strategy. So the first one would be starting from the business. So business first. So we have that first phase of business discovery. And from there, as a starting point, we start developing all our product approach and the use cases and so on. So besides business first, we also have a second conviction that would be actually proving value. So having that testing phase in order to have the KPI proven in order to show the rest of the company. And finally, start small and scale fast. So actually making this cycle happen with priority use cases and unlocking new use cases to make this process work end to end.
And Patricia, could you share with us the results so far with this implementation?
So, Charles, I am very happy to share with everyone the results that we got so far. So, the first use case that we have worked with, it was the reach use case. So, we have a more than 14 million consumer in our database, and we noticed in this use case that we were reaching just 64.8 thousand people. So after the implementation with these pilots, we could reach 90.4 million people. This is more than 100 times reaching people that we had previously. So these were a very impressive use case and a starting use case. So we started very well. And then we were talking like, okay, I could reach all those people, but I needed to understand if these people are engaged through our brands, if we are talking with the audience, the correct audience, with the correct communication. So the second use case that we worked with, it was the engagement score use case. So we could like split the audience into like low, medium, and high engagement, so we could do the correct communication with those people, and we had a very nice result as well. We have 150% more click rates on our use cases. So this was the second use case, and it was also impressive. So we were reaching people, and those people were engaged to our brands, to our communication. So it were amazing for us. And I think the third one, it's regarding democratization. So as I said in the beginning, we wanted to democratize our data because we know that people here in Nestlé, not just the technical team, but we have a lot of people that could use the value that the platform could bring to us. So people needed to be able to work with this data. And now that we have a user-friendly tool, we went from 5 users that were doing the segmentation, and it was not easy, not even for those 5 users. And now we have more than 50 people that are using our tool. So it's very nice because we really could democratize the data inside of Nestlé. And now we are doing another trainings and etc. to be able to democratize to more people. We have people from CRM, from media, trade marketing, from IT, from data, using this tool to be able to have to bring more value to Nestlé. And also we have the benefits that we can deliver to our consumer, to our end consumer. So with this type of tool, we avoid the cannibalization. So the consumer will just receive, and we are just going to communicate with our consumers in the way that they want to communicate. I used to say that this is why Netflix, for example, is so good. Everybody likes Netflix because it understands you, understands what you want to hear. So I don't get mad every time I receive an email from Netflix saying you should watch this new series, because normally they send to me new series that when I watch the series, I am very happy. So I want to do the same thing here, and to be able to do it, this platform is helping us to do it. So the final consumers will receive just the communications regarding what they want. We really wanted to understand our consumers. And it's just through these types of platforms, use cases, and the dedication of people here to understand our consumers that we will be able to do it.
I'm always impressed to hear the good result of Nestlé in a so short time. So use cases and business value are always top of mind for all companies who are implementing innovative MarTech solutions, and also to get an ROI in a short period of time. What are your plans for rolling this out across the Nestlé organization? And are there any specific additional use cases that Nestlé plans to adopt?
So regarding what we want to do in the future, and it's a future that it's very close. So the first thing is to roll out this. I am very happy to share that Treasure Data, it's becoming a global contract here in Nestlé. Então, other countries will be able to implement this platform as well. So this is the first step to not working in silos anymore. So this is very nice for us here. And the second thing is like, as Vini said, you need to start small and scale fast. So we were focused on bringing the data sources inside to set up all the environment and having these use cases to show to the company the value that we were bringing while we were implementing this tool. But now I want to go further. I wanted to work with the auto machine learning connectors that you have. I wanted to use that features that bring me the information like a 360 overview from our customers. So this is important as well. So my idea now is to focus on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the insights that we can have with the 360 overview of our customers.
Sounds very good. And regarding artifacts, how can you help Nestlé with this? Do you have a use case framework standpoint?
Yeah, sure. So it's important to always that we identify pain points, identify use cases to solve those pain points, try to put these use cases in some buckets in order to visualize better as a whole. So normally we see 3 parts of a cycle. So this wheel illustrates a bit more of this idea. So the first part would be audience engine. So actually creating new sets of segments that maybe wouldn't be available before a CDP or without this tool. And then with this new sets of segments and these new audiences that we are creating, send this to tools and help orchestrate marketing campaigns. And lastly, create tools and enable the team to measure the results of these initiatives, of the audiences being, for example, sent to the media tools and the effectiveness of this through dashboards, for example, and use cases of this sort. So just to illustrate a bit better, Patricia mentioned the engagement score. That would be an example of an audience engine use case. So actually creating a score within the CDP and using that to tailor our marketing campaigns for lowly engaged consumers and highly engaged consumers, for example. Once we have that as segments, we can actually send this to media tools throughout native connectors of Treasure Data and measure the results of this in terms of click rate, for example, or other KPIs that are important for the business. Finally, we can create a dashboard that consolidates the results of this. So for example, data strategy, a first-party data strategy dashboards in which you can see the results of the consumers that you are activating, their profile, or even a dashboard that summarizes the 360 consumer information. So that's how we approach use cases in terms of a framework and three main parts of this cycle.
And still from your perspective, how customer can tap into different services and capabilities in the years to come?
Sure. So here is kind of straightforward. So I believe in order to tap into these services and these capabilities that are coming up in these past years, it's important to always look at this through a revenue perspective, so business first and so on. So actually always thinking of how to make data teams a revenue generation center and not only a cost revenue generation center. So obviously these services and these capabilities have a cost associated, and we always need to think of how proving value, generating revenue, and thinking business first.
And to conclude on this topic, Patricia, do you want to share any high-level insights or advice that you can provide to the audience?
So what I wanted to share with the audience is I have 3 tips that I like to talk about. So the first one is you need to focus on your strategy. So having a very clear roadmap for use case implementation and follow it, it was very important. And to do it, we were counting on Artefact help. So they helped us to make all the interviews, the previous work, to be able to define the roadmap and define the best strategy for the implementation. So these were fundamental to be able to understand what do you need inside of Nestlé, because it's never a recipe, but we needed here in Nestlé, for example, to show to people internally, why do we need a platform, market platform, because we are a CPG. We are not a digital company or something like this. So I needed to prove value. So have this clear strategy and choose the correct use cases to show value very quickly, as we did. It was fundamental. And in a company as big and as complex as Nestlé, I think these were the key to the success in the beginning of the implementation. The second thing is regarding people. So people used to ask me but how can I do something like this if I don't have a very big team and etc. So you don't need to. We did that with less than 10 people to make the implementation. The important part is to choose the correct skills, to establish the correct team, but you don't need to have a lot of people working on it. You need to have the right people working on it. So this is a very important tip that I gave to the audience. And for the last, I think it's to keep evolving. So we have so many features and we have a so powerful tool. We really need to extract as much as value as we can. So we need to keep evolving it. You cannot just put effort to be able to set up and implement and say, okay, now I implement and that's it. No, because the consumer habits change. We have new connectors, we have new medias. Yesterday we have people using Facebook in Brazil, and now they are using Instagram more than Facebook. So how can I change fast? I need to be aligned to this. So it will always have a new connector, a new media, a new social media, and the consumer habits will going to change. The pandemic came here just to prove to us that we have control of anything. So if we are prepared to keep evolving with our consumer and with the technology, I really think that we can achieve great results.
This is very valuable insights. And to finish our roundtable, we would like to go through two questions. So you understood that to implement a CDP, it can be a complicated project. So how to make sure and convince the teams that they will use the CDP and that the change management is well done?
So I think change management is the key to the success of any type of project for data and IT. So for us here, we focused our change management strategy very similar to how we treat our consumers. So I am here saying that I want to personalize my communication with my consumer, right? So I need to do the same thing internally. I have different type of people that need to be impacted through this implementation. So we have the senior stakeholders that need to understand the value, the roadmap. We have people that will operate this tool. We have people that will be able to understand the needs from those stakeholders and bring home to understand our roadmap. I have so many different types of people that need to be part of this change management that I think my tip to do it is like you need to think how to personalize the change management strategy as much you need to personalize your communication with your customers.
And how do you intend to keep people engaged in using the platform?
So one thing that we are always updating our trainings. So we have these constant trainings and we are always listening to their opinions. So we have a lot of business units. As I said, Nestlé is the biggest company for beverages and foods. And we have so many brands and we have so many business units. So, and we are in a world that everything changes so quickly. So I need to have a solid strategy and a solid roadmap, but I need to keep listen to these people. What is your need? What do you need to make your business go further? What is your brand? What is your brand target this year? To be able to adjust my use cases roadmap and deliver to that business unit what they need, and not even it's not always the same. Normally, it's different. So to keep evolving, I need to listen to the strategy of our brands to be able to adapt to our use cases roadmap. I need to keep making this training and keep people updated on our platform, because I said we are always evolving the platform. So I cannot give the training once that we implement the tool and then I forget about it. No, we need to keep helping people to upskilling to be able to keep using the tool. So this is very important. And I think for the last and the most important thing is to keep a very close relationship with the partners. So it's very important for us, for example, to be always talking with Treasure Data, and you guys are always bringing insights to us. Like we have this new feature. This one, it will be implemented, I don't know, X months from now. I have this new feature that you can test as beta. So I think having this close relationship is very important, and I think you also can share with us that Treasure Data here, it's now in Brazil with artifacts, and we are going to have a very important workshop this week to discuss how can we evolve the tool, how can we go further together, what is important for us, what is our senior stakeholders needs. So having this close relationship, it's amazing for us because we feel that everybody wants to evolve together.
And I can say in the name of Artefact that we are very happy to be here in this week for the workshop. And I would say that for Treasure Data and for Artifacts, customer success is really our obsession. So we arrive at the end of our roundtable. So I would like to thank you, Patricia and Vinicius, for being here and to answering all those questions. And I hope it has been useful to the audience. And we're at your disposal if you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.